Harry was really hoping to restore the popularity that he once had before Meghan entered the picture, but he has failed miserably, like everything they try. I really do think that this visit was to gauge the public's reaction to Harry, to find out if their appearance at the coronation is going to work out well for them. It looks like they're not going to be attending. Royal expert Ms. Angela Levin has also weighed in criticizing the traitorous couple. On Sky News, she explains, Harry and Meghan have already received paid PR publicity with Will We or Won't We attend the coronation for the last month, after receiving an email invitation. I'm sure if they had of receiving an actual invite, it would have appeared in the media. In a power play of sorts, the Sussexes have conditions that must be met before they consider attending. By demanding the most outrageous things, they can blame the royal family if they don't attend. But sadly, Harry and his wife have no control in the UK. During his recent trip, both his father and William refused to see him. He appeared in good spirits entering the court through the front door, yet left by the back door once a crowd had gathered. He didn't have the impact he anticipated, and didn't bother attending court on the third day. He didn't outshine the royal family. While the media covered a very successful visit to Germany for King Charles and Queen Camilla, Harry, the climate warrior, flew back to the US on a private jet. It is very easy for Harry and Meghan to threaten, to mock, and intimidate the royal family all the way from California. But you know what? Where is all that courage once they show up in the UK? What kind of publicity did they get at the Jubilee? Harry seemed so embarrassed and so angry as he was shown to his seat next to Princess Margaret's daughter, with security and MI6 right there behind him. And then Meghan was sashaying down the aisle grinning like a fool. Publicity? I don't think so. It was much more like a demotion. And the Queen's funeral was even worse for them. Once again, Harry looked miserable and furious. They were ostracized from the royal family, and Harry's uniform was altered to reflect his change in status, and his wife was put right behind a big candle. So publicity? Oh no, it was more like they were ignored. And we know that crocodile tear leaking out of Meghan's eye was manufactured for publicity purposes, but that blew up in their faces too. It is not right for you to pretend to cry for somebody you have treated so horribly. And why were they even there? The Queen asked to see them before she passed away, but they didn't have the time, so how dare they even show up? And then there was the walkabout they did with William and Catherine. Once again, that really proved who was in charge. I did not see any of the bravado, any of the confidence that they displayed while in the US. Now, maybe they think it's important that they attend the coronation, but the fact is nothing has changed. If they come, I believe the royal family are going to show them that at the end of the day, they are completely irrelevant and unimportant. Really, Meghan and Harry never got as much free publicity from actually showing up in the UK as they are getting right now for this will they or won't they game. The two of them are in the news on an almost daily basis, issuing yet another demand to the king of the royal family. And because the king and the royal family don't really even take any notice of their ridiculousness, they are just coming back with more and more outrageous requests. If they had just accepted the invitation and said, yes, of course we'll be there, then I guess that wouldn't make news, would it? One problem, though, Meghan and Harry really believed that they were more important than they are, and that their presence was so important that they could ask for and get whatever it is they want. And it seems probable that not only are they going to get none of their demands met, but also they have an answer within the timescale, so their invitations could be gone. Both Meghan and Harry have egg on their faces right now. The king has refused to let Meghan borrow a tiara. Givenchy, among others, has said that they're not going to make the gown for Meghan for the coronation, in spite of rumors circulating around social media to let us all know that Meghan has had a $200,000 makeover to get ready for the big day. They really don't have anywhere to stay. I guess they can stay in a hotel. And they also told Harry that he needs to give 4 weeks advance notice if he wants royal protection. Well, that ran out last Friday. So it might be too late for Harry to qualify. And I don't think they're going to have a prominent position. Instead, I think they're going to be stuck with the other guests. And maybe they'll be behind a giant candle or 3. Their presence is not requested on the balcony after the ceremony. There are no roles for their invisible children, no acknowledgement of Archie's birthday. They are not going to present the concert on the big day in spite of requesting that role. I could continue, but it's just as boring as they are. So clearly they are losing power. They cannot say that they were not invited. They have been. They cannot say that the family didn't give them enough time to answer. It was more than enough for everybody else. And they cannot claim that London is so dangerous for Harry. He just spent 4 days there, 3 of which were spent in the public eye, going to and from the Royal Courts of Justice, where there were a few paparazzi and nobody was really interested in Harry. The fact is, there were no RPOs inside, and Harry somehow survived. Now, maybe Harry will decide that he better weasel his way in, but he's probably not going to be greeted with any enthusiasm by anyone. And I think it's not very likely that Meghan would dare to show up. But she is pretty brazen, so I could be wrong about that. I wouldn't put anything past her at this point. But in that case, what is going to happen to poor little Archie-official? His birthday is on the same day as the coronation. So what, are they just going to leave him at home in Montecito without either parent on his big day, if he's real that is? Last year, it was only his father who wasn't there. He was out playing polo. And of course, friends, you know I'm still not convinced that there is an Archie. And some of their other demands were not met either. They wanted a spot on the Buckingham Palace balcony after the coronation, but they're never going to get that. They wanted the king to seat them with the Prince and Princess of Wales, but of course that's not going to happen. Instead, they're going to have to sit with the second-tier royals away from the main family. And they also wanted the king to find some way to include their invisible children in the coronation itself. Well, those two are not included. They're not even invited. Harry and Meghan also wanted to be in the processions to and from the coronation, but I don't think they're included. They also requested that the king acknowledge Archie-official's 4th birthday in some way, but I don't think he's going to do that, even if it just so happens to be on the same day. Obviously, though, Meghan just can't help herself. She is desperate for publicity. She breathes publicity like the rest of us breathe oxygen. If she wants a tiara, then maybe somebody can make her a copy out of glue just in case it gets lost. And as for an outfit, well, if I were a designer, I would tell her, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just too busy, I can't help you. Meghan has no idea what actually looks good on her body, and she does not listen to anybody's advice, so it just makes the designers look bad. Whatever she does end up wearing, though, if she comes, you know it's going to be so inappropriate. And it's going to look like the person who made it just learned how to sew last week. Will Meghan actually have the nerve, though, to show up? I'm not sure. Now, she does have some nerve, more probably than anyone I've ever seen or heard. Whatever those two con artists do, though, you know it's going to be for publicity and money, and they need to be carefully checked for hidden recording devices. They might be more careful this time. Maybe we won't see any lumpy collars or bizarre-looking breasts. I would just love to see them sat, though, on the children's seats at the back, because they did not even have the courtesy to RSVP on time. And you know what? Maybe one's going to have a wonky leg, perhaps both, and they'll just be varnished so that they look nice. Harry and Meghan wanted to be included because they need some new material for Netflix. I don't think they are getting anything new, though, because Netflix cameras are not going to be allowed to photograph anything for them, and most of the royal family is not going to want to speak to them because they can't be trusted. Harry and Meghan already have to realize they are so unpopular in Great Britain, and they're going to run the risk of getting booed if they dare to show up. So why take all that risk for no clear reward? And when both King Charles and Prince William have decided they didn't want to meet with Harry unless there was somebody else before the coronation, as reported by reputable newspapers, how in the world are Prince Harry's demands going to be met? I think newspapers would report a meeting like that taking place if it does, because it would be newsworthy, and nothing has reported such a meeting as of today. Does anybody out there believe that Prince Harry himself would keep that a secret if his demands had actually been met? I don't think so. You know, Prince Harry and Meghan will be bragging about how they had won if King Charles gave in to their demands. Just use your brain a little bit and you can quickly find the answer to that one.